It's a spiritual. If you turn.
The gentleman about to speak has got away from Liverpool and has landed up in East Anglia. So without further ado, the wonderful Mark Taylor.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to say that in a past life I dabbled in leadership, and some of the leadership that we've seen from some of the ladies and gentlemen on this side of the room is absolutely mind-blowing, and I just wanted to comment on that. The subject matter experts and what they're putting out on this side of the room, again, is fantastic. But what do they need? They need help from us down at the lower levels, and I think that this is where Council Watch comes in. So I'd just like to give you a quick introduction on what we do in Thetford with the Council Watch. This is me in a past life, ladies and gentlemen. Quick bit about me. My fingers are too fast. I spent 34 years in the military. That picture there is behind enemy lines in Iraq. And in case you didn't know, I was literally looking for the weapons of mass destruction and they weren't there. We didn't find them, just in case anybody doesn't know. I left the military in 2011 and was quickly targeted by local politicians. And in 2015, I became an elected councillor, gaining the highest votes in southwest Norfolk. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I could talk from Liverpool. I know a lot of people. And the next minute, I was thrown into the fray. How did I get on as a councillor? I became quite famous in the area for upsetting Liz Truss during Brexit, as she was our MP. She used to run the other way when she seen me. I was famous for calling out our Lady Mayor as a little Hitler. That's on YouTube. I made our Labour MP, Terry Jeremy, we've got at the minute, eat a hat for charity over Donald Trump. That went all the way to the Sun. I was then arrested and jailed for giving out information at jab centres when they teared up onto my patch. And I regularly was in the local papers and there's no way I could hide. You could say that I was a square peg in a round hole. That was my time as a councillor. Now, this past experience in both the military and local politics put me in a good stead to help organise and also influence recent events in Thetford. Now, as you can all see, I'm quite confident and quite gobby. I come from Liverpool, but we have a fantastic team in Thetford. Everybody fits in. Some of us are front of house, but we couldn't do it without the backup we get off the other people. But Council Watch, how did it start? I do believe we're the first one of its type in the country, but I wouldn't argue about that. It started with 20-minute neighbourhoods being forced into our area in Thetford. The Norfolk County Council were pushing it big time, and it was the people of the Stand in the Park who do all the research and the digging we found out. What we decided to do was to leaflet the town with our own money and get as many people as we could to that month's council meeting. And I'll give you an example of what happened. Nearly 200 people turned up and we couldn't fit them in the town hall. Was there no noise? No. We couldn't fit them in the... We've got no audio by the looks of it. We couldn't fit them in the town hall and we quickly had to phone up a friend who runs the Thomas Paine Hotel. He allowed me, because I have the keys, access, and in we went. Now, this pushback by the people of Thetford, with 200 of them turning up to a normal council meeting, resulted in an emergency meeting being called in a bigger venue with the county council. And over 300 locals attended this meeting to dissent about the 20-minute neighbourhoods. Norfolk County Council then appeared to shelve the plans for the 20-minute neighbourhoods due to the public opinion of those 300 people in the town. But because we did not trust them, members of the Stand in the Park, we stood as candidates in the local elections in 2023 at the town and district level. It was quite hard to do, to get novices who didn't know anything about politics to actually put their head above the parapet and stand, and we did. We run, I think it was 13 candidates in that election. And this was in order to keep the pressure on the local councillors who we did not trust about the 20-minute neighbourhoods coming into the area. We called ourselves the Thomas Paine Independents. That was the collective name we took after one of the famous sons from the town. Have we got audio, Dave?
No, I can't get to your computer.
I'd like to tell you all I've got nothing to do with it.
Right, this is just a bit of the campaigning that we did in the town. We actually went out, we met the people, we were explaining to them the fact that if we got voted in, I don't know if everybody in here realises that outside of the major cities there's 3 levels of council. There's your parish town, there's your district, and then there's your council. So we were standing at 2 levels, which was the town and the district. You get paid at the district level, roughly about £500 a month. We were telling the people of Thetford that we would forego the £500, put it into a local pot and use that for the people of Thetford if they voted us in. That was the plan. Unfortunately, only 24% of the people in the town turned out to vote. We had voter apathy, which is quite understandable with everything that we'd been going through. The local Labour Party, as they always do, managed to get the vote out, and this resulted in them gaining full control of the town council. So we've now got a town council in Thetford who have gained control with only 18% of the vote. Now, I actually got kicked out. I was too busy doing other things to canvass at the time fully, and I was sacked by the electorate. However, what I did point out with only 18% is that the system is not fit for purpose. You know, after being there for 8 years and seeing this, I'm thinking, what is going on? How can you have all this power with only 18%? Even though people in Thetford are apathetic, they don't deserve what's coming. So what did we decide to do? The stand in the park is we formed a shadow council. Originally called the Thetford Sovereign Council, we then changed the name to Thetford Council Watch to come in line with other embryonic council watches that were starting to form around the country. What does Council Watch do? We attend the monthly town council meeting on the last Tuesday of the month. We put relevant questions to the elected councillors, and as we say in Thetford, they do not like it up 'em. We scrutinise their agenda points, and we prepare our own Council Watch agenda for the following Monday when we have our own Council Watch meeting. The public are invited to attend and are fully involved with what we do in our agenda, and we do invite questions and let the public get totally involved. Now, I chair it the majority of the time, and it can be quite hard, but as an ex-sergeant major in the military, I do survive it. But it's very, very good to get the public involved, which they're not allowed to fully at the normal council meetings. Now, where we have our council, we cannot ask questions at the county level in Norwich, Norfolk. We cannot ask questions at the district level, which is Breckland, which covers 5 major towns. And we only get 15 minutes at the town level. And consequently, there's a lot of filibustering going on, and people are not allowed to get the questions across or get any decent answers off the local politicians. It took us a few months to get going, but we soon started to formulate good questions. Questions that would challenge the Labour mainly council and capture all their answers on film. We film everything. I was going to put a film on now, but we've got no audio, so I'm going to go through it quite quickly. This is just a LSB Film Productions film, which he actually is one of us. And this is an invitation that goes out on YouTube for all the locals to please come down and join us, and it tells them what we do. So we are getting local media involved in the campaign to get more people on the Council Watch.
Here's where you come in. We hold our own meetings after every council meeting to discuss what we've done. As a council, we prepare your thoughts, concerns and ideas for our community. Now, why don't you contribute this week? Because your voice matters. Maybe you're frustrated about that pothole on your street that never gets
So that's the invitation that everybody in Thetford can look at if they start to hear about us as a Council Watch and want more information. Now, just in Thetford, just when things are going quiet and you start to wonder what's coming next, you find that Thetford Council, Labour majority, are the council that just keeps giving. In February, we went in and we all pulled out our phones and started to film the questions, and there was uproar amongst the councillors. They stopped the meeting and they told us that we were not allowed to film them answering our questions. Lots of consternation in the public, and we did tell the councillors that they're breaking the law. We even had a copy of the change from Parliament and the government, I think it was in 2021, telling them that they had to ignore their standing orders and go with the public and let the public. So they ignored that and they left the chamber. We found out retrospectively that the councillors hid upstairs in a room. The public, after having a gab amongst themselves, after 40 minutes left, and then the councillors came back and conducted the meeting without the public. So you can imagine how that went down. The public were not happy at all. So at the very next council meeting, the month after, there was another walkout by the council because we were again filming them and insisted on filming. It was quite funny because we're a very old council, and 4 times a year the council puts their gowns and their hats on, and they were all dressed in their finery. And basically they walked out. But this time Thetford Council Watch had a plan. We waited for all the councillors to vacate the chamber. We then moved forward and occupied their empty seats. We explained to the public, who were quite bemused, what was going on. We explained who we were and why we were taking over the meeting. And we then restarted the meeting and controlled it, and we worked our way through the council's agenda as best we could. When this happened, the councillors started migrating back from wherever they were standing and started looking in at us from the fringes, and then started to come back into the main hall as we run it. The looks I were getting were not good. So we invited the public to participate fully with the questions, and then the council called the police. Now, it's quite funny because the police turned up, and the good thing about Thetford Council Watchers, the majority of us are trained during the scamdemic as common law constables. So we know a bit or two about standing in our own sovereignty and land, air and water and everything like that. So the police came in and told us that they'd been reported there because of a disturbance. We informed them that the public were talking to the public in a public building and there was no disturbance. With that, the public all started clapping and put the police under pressure. Again, they told us that they'd come there for a disturbance. I'm a bit of a sarcastic lad, so I said to them, officers, the only disturbance was the noise of the chairs scraping on the floor as the councillors left the building. And at that point, the public started laughing again. And I think the bobbies realised that they were on a losing wicket. Now, at that point, we went official and we asked the officers exactly what crime did they think was being committed. Now, this is where you've got to have a bit of bottle and you've got to have a bit of backbone, you've got to have a bit of spine, you know, because when they come in, it's intimidation and it's fear. So, you know, we will have pecking orders in our groups, but we will have confident people, and the confident people have got to stand. Unfortunately, because of my background, I'm the front of the queue. I am Spartacus. Once they ascertained there was no crime being committed, the police then left the building, to the bemusement of the Thetford Town councillors who just stood there and looked on and didn't know what to do. And at that point, when the police left, the public started clapping and hooting wildly. So it was a good victory for the Council Watch. Right, obviously it's a game of to and fro. moves and counter moves, as the cue balls would say. At the next meeting, the council put in 2 big burly security guards. And the public started asking questions to the councillors about where the security guards come from, how much they were costing, and the council wouldn't give us any answers. It was quite funny for me because my good friend runs the security company. It's called Force 8. So I'm texting him as this is all going down, and I'm saying, Clive, your goons are here, and the public are trying to find out how much they cost. I said, and the public are not happy. And he come back with a famous line. He said, Scouts, don't you worry about how much it costs. I'll pay anything to get people in there to look after you. So we did have a good laugh. But we found out retrospectively it's £180 an evening that the council is paying with taxpayers' money to put 2 security guards in there who can't actually do anything. They've got no jurisdiction. Now, it's quite funny, over the next few months, we end up getting on really well with the security guards, and the security guards cannot believe the disdain that the public is treated with by the councillors. And there's a couple of the councillors threatened a couple of our people during the question times, where I've had to say to the security guards, be ready to step in and take control of these unruly councillors. And that is on film. Now, they've been at every council meeting since February, but we've still had the police called when the meetings are stopped. So the police turn up and we go through the whole rigmarole again. What's going on? If they just took the questions from the public and answered them as best they could and spent more time in the council meeting answering the questions, this would all go away. But they refuse to have dialogue with the public. Where are we now? Thetford town is in crisis, apparently. For those who haven't heard, Labour have declared a climate crisis in the town. Now, it's like I said before, just when I think we're losing a bit of momentum, Thetford Labour Council just keep on giving. They then allocated £30,000 of the taxpayers' money into the new climate crisis pot. You can imagine how that went down with the public. Now, it's been pointed out to the councillors at numerous meetings, and it gets very feisty. I've got a film on there of me berating them, and it gives you a flavour of what happens at one of our meetings. But because we got no audio, I can't really play it. But it's been pointed out to the councillors through questions that they have not provided any evidence of this climate crisis. None of the other local towns or parishes in our area are aware of this. No, you don't have to be an ex-military man to realise that if you've got consequences of something major going on, there is going to be overlap on the boundaries of your area. None of the other parishes or councils know anything about this. So we do embarrass them in the council meetings over these points. Even the IPCC have not declared a climate crisis. We pointed that out. They do not understand carbon. They have no clue about photosynthesis. They will not answer any of the questions. They don't know how much carbon is in the air presently. And when we explain to them that they are being controlled from above through the whip system, their faces go white. We tell them that they're being controlled by unelected global corporations and NGOs, and this is coming down from their masters at the top of the party down through the whip system, and we're explaining that they're there not for national reasons, they're there for local reasons, and they need to engage with the public. So we're now council watch now, because it's moves and counter moves. We're now we want to see this £30,000, which is obviously surplus to the budget. We want to see that going into a new crisis pot, a local Thetford pensioners crisis pot for the pensioners. Yeah. No, you're not going to hear it. I can't put it on. It was a really good bit of audio, but you can imagine the toing and froing on the questions when these are going through. And the more that these councillors won't answer, and the more they hide behind the microphones, and they won't engage with the public, and the public just becomes more and more enraged. Now, you could say that the meetings are slightly turning some people into disorder. But they're not. It's good order because it's the elected politicians running away and hiding from the people and the people getting frustrated. Now, our point at Council Watch is as the people become more frustrated, we need to give them ways out and how to get around what the council's doing. So basically, the police got called in again and I did a piece to camera, but I'll move through it. So that would have just give you a quick flavour of the town council meetings, the noise, the questions and the frustration that the council induces within the public. Thetford Council will still not answer any of our questions, even on stuff outside of the climate crisis, and they still regularly stop and abandon the meetings. The last Tuesday meeting of October, it was abandoned. They didn't call the police this time. I think the police won't turn up. It is getting absolutely ridiculous. I just, I can't get my head around it. Have some dialogue, talk it through, but don't just keep abandoning meetings and hiding behind your chairs. But what is the future? Where are we going? I just wanted to put in, because we've heard a lot of stuff today. We've all heard of the Great Awakening. What is really going on? We all know that there's some sort of global Great Awakening going on, because we all know that there's a global takeover going on. So, you can't have light without dark. You can't have a positive without a negative. Moves and counter moves up at that higher level. We all follow our favourite truth tellers on social media. We've all got our favourites. There's been a few arguments already with members of the audience about certain things on that. So we all know that something's going on at the top level. But my point is, the fight is at the local level. All the information is coming from this side of the room, the experts, the subject matter, the leaders. But it's going to be to no avail unless we do something with it down at the low levels. I'm appealing to a lot of you in here today. If you've got any organising skills, put your foot in the hot water. Try and do something. You soon get used. You're going to have people talking you down. You're going to have people talking about you on social media. But they are in the minority. We've got to start targeting the majority, the apathetic, the ones who are waking up. And we've got to start having nice little local counter systems in to start picking up when this all falls apart. Because if it's as bad as some of us think it is through our research, things are going to fall apart, and we need to have some structured mechanics at that lower level to keep things going for good people, by good people. So the fight is at the local level, and we need to implement some sort of bottom-up system of governance. We've got to get rid of this top-down diktat through this whip system, and we've all got to be aware of that. So that'll combat the top-down authoritarianism that we presently have. So stand with us. What we're saying is, all the council watchers, if you haven't got one in your area, look at standing one up. Start talking with like-minded people, because as that quote says there, remember, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and I will take 2 minutes questions. Thank you. Take a couple of questions. I'll take a couple of questions, Liz.
No, later.